So it was funny this morning while I was running some errands. I saw a young man who probably had just gotten out of church or something. He was at Chipotle and eating his burrito, minding his own business. And of course, his friendly neighborhood imam, whose curiosity got the best of him, happened to look over his shoulder, and I saw that the young man had a believer's Bible, basically like their version of a tafsir. It was like a commentary. And of course, this is right after CNN released their little thing about, the decline of religion in America and how more young people today identify with no religion than those who identify as evangelical or Catholic. And one thing that I thought was worthwhile reflecting on is that, the media really does have a tremendous influence on how we see and interpret the world around us. And that one of the things that the media isn't going to really be interested in is quality of belief versus quantity. And, it wants to reduce the introspection or the question about religion. It often wants to reduce it to a quantitative way of looking at things. How many people are religious versus looking at the quality of religiosity. And if we allow ourselves to be completely led around by the nose, I think one thing that will happen is that we will be very, very disappointed, and maybe even become depressed, like, oh God, people are losing faith today. And so, people have always been losing or gaining faith. The question is, what kind of believer, are we talking about? That doesn't really seem to make it into the conversation. And that here was a young man having his burrito, just probably gotten out of church. And, we have to really, really be a lot more discerning about what we allow to influence us and what shapes our world vision and how we think of the world around us, because otherwise, we could really get depressed. What's going on? So, something to keep in mind that, that particular article on CNN was, lopsided, but it gives the illusion of objectivity, right? I think objectivity in journalism is actually, it's a bunch of BS. There's no such thing. Humans all have bias, right? Journalistic institutions are made up of human beings that have their biases, and presuming that somehow they'll be able to have an objective take on things is absolutely ridiculous. What would give us a better understanding is if people are just honest about their biases, right? If I had a journal or magazine or newspaper or whatever, I'm a Muslim, I'm an imam, undoubtedly my biases as a Muslim would undoubtedly play a role and filter into that. And to me, that's actually a lot more honest than pretending that we don't have biases. That's just stupid and ridiculous. And you'd have to think I'm a lot more unintelligent than I already am to think that I'm going to believe that somehow you can completely bypass your prejudices. And that a lot of times the illusion of journalistic integrity, meaning objectivism, is really a means of actually trying to do sort of a Jedi mind trick on us to get us to believe it's actually what I personally see it as a matter of persuasion, even though they claim to just be laying the facts bare before you. But personally, I see that more of as like it's actually more of a subversive act of persuasion. So anyway, go have a burrito, keep believing, and I would say certainly take CNN or any other journalistic institution, liberal or conservative, take it with a grain of salt.